Welcome to another House of Wisdom video, and today we're going to be looking at my most carried EDC knives. I started to title this video My Favorite Knives, but that begs a question. What is my favorite knife? Is it the knife that I think is the most excellent in my collection, or is it the knife I enjoy carrying in my pocket and using? I'm going to give you some examples of some knives I think are excellent that I really don't like to carry. This is an example. This is a Millet Max Evolution, and it has an Odin's Eye Damascus steel that is highly polished and it's just beautiful. But whenever I see this knife, it's a beautiful knife, but I really don't want to cut anything with it because I think I'd mess up the Odin's Eye Damascus steel. It's really pretty Damascus steel. Another example of one of my favorite knives, but a knife that I really don't carry around much, is the Enrique Pena Lanny's Clip Flipper. This is a great knife. Look at how beautiful that hand-rubbed satin blade is, and every detail of this knife is perfect. I picked it up at Blade 2017, and I like it so much, and I think it's such a great knife, and it's such my favorite knife that I never want to carry it around. I'm afraid I'll mess it up. And then another knife that's one of my favorite knives, but I don't really carry, is the Cody Etzler Custom Equalizer. This knife is just beautiful. Look at that hand-rubbed satin blade and then a grinder's satin on the grind. Cody made this special for me. It has zirconium thumb studs and pivots and standoffs. You can see the zirconium standoffs, and he anodized it a special color for me. It's sort of a taupe color, and it is just a beautiful, perfect knife, and if I were to get snail trails on that, that would make me very disappointed. So these, in a way, kind of are my favorite knives, or some of my favorite knives, but I never carry them around, so these aren't going to be what my video is about today. One time I had a friend at work, and he was a stamp collector, and I asked him to bring some of his stamps so that I could appreciate his hobby, and he wouldn't do it because he was afraid. He keeps his stamps in this waterproof safe in case it's a flood. It won't get ruined. His stamps won't get ruined. And so he was afraid to bring his stamps to work because he was afraid they might get exposed to humidity or damaged, or that one of the sheets of stamps might get a wrinkle in it and his investment be ruined. And so basically he has a hobby that didn't excite me that much, because basically he has his hobby inside a safe, and he can't show it to anybody because they're afraid it'll be exposed to moisture, humidity, or damage. And I thought my hobby is a lot better because I have a knife, and you can cut a box with a knife, you can open your mail with a knife, you can do a lot of things with a knife. And I didn't want to be that guy, and I wake up one day and I am that guy. I don't want to cut anything with this knife, and I don't want to carry it around because I'm afraid it gets scratched. So in the comments section, let me know about your opinion on that. First thing is, what is your favorite knife? Is the knife you think is the prettiest, or the knife that you want to put in your pocket and use and carry around? The second thing is it even good to have something that you don't want to use that's just an object of art? Well, let's move on to what my top 10 most carried knives are. I want to start out with an old tried and true, the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. It only weighs 2.86 ounces. My kids got this one for me for Father's Day years ago. It was the first knife that I owned, and it cost $100, and I couldn't even bring myself to buy a knife that cost that much, and believe me, I've gotten over that since. But this is just a great knife. The combination of the Spidey hole and the axis lock make this a great fidget toy, and you can open it just with the axis lock and close it with the axis lock, or you can open it with the Spidey hole and close it with the axis lock. So that is going to be my 10th most carried knife of 2017. My 9th most carried knife of 2017 is going to be the Lion Steel TRE. It's 2.19 ounces. It's a great size. It's light, and I usually open it with the thumb disc because that's the best way to open it. It also has a flipper tab, but the flipper's a little weak, so I don't do it that way, and you can open it with your hand like that. But this knife has this great milling on it, and it has carbon fiber on the other side, and it just feels great in the hand, and it's a joy to carry. My 8th most carried knife on the list of 2017 is the Chris Reeve Small Sabenza in carbon fiber. It is 2.2 ounces of happiness. I did a spa treatment on this particular knife. The Chris Reeve knives aren't designed to be flicked out, but I sanded down the washers a little bit and it still centers perfectly in center and you can flip it out. So it is just a lot of fun to carry. I'm going to put that down there. Another Chris Reeve knife that I like a lot is the small Nkosi. However, it's a little more difficult to flick. I don't know if you can see, but it has this little point sticking up here, whereas when you flick a Sebenza, your thumb goes down and then meets the thumb stud, and it's just really easy to find the thumb stud even if you're looking at it. Here you're this little divot here directs your thumb away from the thumb stud, so you have to jam it in between the knife handle and that to flick it out. Plus I haven't done a spa treatment, so if I flick it weakly it won't open all the way. You really have to get your inners end going to get that open. So I like this a lot. I just haven't had the courage to knock this off. If I knocked this off, that would really probably be my favorite knife. It has a bigger pivot and it has a better lockup mechanism. But anyway, Chris Reeves, he makes everything excellent. But I'm going to say Sebenza because it's really the one that I reach for whenever I go for a knife. My seventh favorite knife is going to be the Berger EXK. This is the small version and it weighs 3.6 ounces. It is a great size and it's a little bit heavier, but it's a full titanium knife, has a great lockup and a wonderful action. And it's one of my favorite fidget toys because once you have a front flipper, you just want to flip it all the time. That's going to be my seventh most favorite knife. I've recently acquired another front flipper, the Alamic Busker, which I had customized, and it's a barrel of monkeys to play with too. I haven't played with it as much as the Berger EXK, so I, in all honesty, can't say that this is my most carried knife, although this is getting a lot of pocket time. Those front flippers are pretty addictive. At number 6, we're going to have the Spyderco Para 3. At 3 ounces, it's a great knife. It has a compression lock that is a lot of fun to play with. The knife is a user, and at 3 ounces, it replaces for me the Paramilitary 2, which I always felt was a little bit too large. I can get my whole hand on this one, and it has a forward choil too, and you have, oh gee, a centimeter and a half there on the tail of the knife, so it has a large handle, and I think it replaces the Paramilitary 2 for not only me, but a lot of collectors. Spyderco, I'm going to put that there as the number 6. Spyderco in the past has made a 2.5-inch blade. You know, the Paramilitary 3 has about a 3.5-inch blade, and the Para 3 has a 2-inch blade. This is the S, which is a skeletonized version. This only weighs a couple ounces, and it has the compression lock just like the Para 2 and the Para 3. It's not in production, but I think it's a great knife. It's a collector's item, and so it falls into that category of I like it too much to carry. However, there is a 2.5-inch compression lock coming out, and you guys are going to see a review of it on my channel within a week. It's the Little Native, and the Native, which is a 3-inch blade, had a back lock. Spyderco chose on their Little Native iteration to use a compression lock, so there will be a smaller, like this, is a 2.5-inch blade with a forward finger choil, and the Little Native, and you guys are going to get to see a video on it in just about a week. Coming in at number 5 on my 2017 most carried list is the Jerry McGinnis Mini Exo in carbon fiber. Wow, I really like this knife. It only weighs 2.6 ounces. It's an irony because this is an expensive knife, but for some reason I don't mind carrying it. It's got simple finishes. It's got a bronzed titanium side on this side. It's got a carbon fiber on this side. It has a little bit longer blade. It has a 3.1-inch blade on this one, so it's a little bit longer. I really like it. It's fun to carry around, and I don't mind carrying around even though if it's a more expensive knife. Coming in at number 4 on my list of most carried knives is the Shirogorov Neon Ultralight. This is an expensive knife also, but I don't mind carrying it because it's just a plain titanium scale and a flat ground bead blasted blade. It is a very simple knife, and that's why I like it so much, is because of its simplicity. It has these Shirogorov Bear. I like that maker mark. It has the lanyard hole that's part of the handle. It has proprietary pivots, but you can open the knife and disassemble the knife with just a flat-headed screwdriver. I like everything about it, but really The star of the show is the multi-row bearing system, and Shirogoro Smooth. It just shakes down nicely, and wow, it's a fun fidget toy as well as a knife. Shirogorov isn't the only one that you can disassemble with proprietary hardware and a flat-headed screwdriver. The Clyde Challenor Talon is that way too. Clyde has these pivots that look like a cross, but you can put a flathead screwdriver in there and disassemble that. So I like the design that those guys have. The next knife on my list, the number 3 most carried knife, is going to be my Andre Thorburn Andre Van Heerden A2. It's the A5, which is a diminutive version of the A3. It weighs 2.8 ounces, and it is a great knife. And in this yellow handle, it just makes me happy. I have 2 of these, and there are very few knives that I actually have 2 of. The other one is in carbon fiber, and this one has the single row IKBS bearings, and this has a double row IKBS bearings. And I was made aware that some of the earlier versions he made with double row IKBS bearings, and so I called him to do a custom for me, and he didn't even remember that he ever made any with double row IKBS bearings. But wow, look at how smooth that is. And that's the idea with the multi-row bearing system in the Shirogorov. It has 2 sets of IKBS balls or bearings. I guess it's not IKBS unless it's theirs, but ball bearings. And this has 2 rows also, and it's really smooth. And it's another expensive one. The last 3s have all been knives that cost over $500, but for some reason I don't mind carrying these guys. The next knife on my list, my number 2 most carried knife, is the Spyderco Dragonfly. I know you guys are laughing inside. This one is a ZDP 189, which is a high quality steel. The only reason that it didn't make the number 1 most carried is because it's really not much of a fidget toy. You can flick it out if you really work hard at it, but then because it's a lockback, you have to do a 2-step closing pattern, so it's not something that you can do. But I like it. It's small, it's light at 1.2 ounces. I consider this to be possibly one of the lightest and best knives in the world. And whenever I travel to foreign countries, this is the one I put in my pocket because it's not going to intimidate anybody, and it's got a small blade, so it's really great for travel, and it's just great to throw in your pocket. You don't even notice that it's there. Okay, we're coming to the end now. Are you guys ready for my number 1 most carried knife in 2017? It is the Zero Tolerance 0450 in carbon fiber. This is just a great knife. I can't say enough good about it. It's got a 3 1/4 inch blade, but it weighs less than 2.5 ounces at 2.45 ounces. It's a production knife, but it is so much fun to flip. It's probably my most fun flipping production knife. The Kaiser Dukes is also one, but the Kaiser Dukes comes in at about a $60 price point. This is about $180, but anyway, it's that nice sweet spot where it has a high quality. It uses S35VN steel. It's got a great flipping action. I like the aesthetics of it, and it has these zombie green standoffs that gives you a pop of color, and it's just a fun fidget toy to play with. I really like the Zero Tolerance 0450 in carbon fiber. So I wanted to do a short summary for you of the knives I've reviewed. The knives that are expensive that I don't mind carrying around include the Jerry McGinnis Mini Exo, the Shirogorov Neon Ultralight, and the Thorburn Van Heerden A2 A5. If you want a higher quality knife, but something that is simple enough that you don't mind carrying around, I would recommend these 3 knives. If you like longer knives, there are 3 knives among us that have blades over 3 inch long, and they include the Jerry McGinnis Mini Exo, which has a 3.1 inch blade, the Shirogorov Neon, which has a 3 1/4 inch blade, and the ZT 0450, which also has a 3 1/4 inch blade. The best flippers in the group are the Shirogorov Neon Ultralight, the Thorburn Van Heerden A5, and then the Zero Tolerance 0450. And my favorite fidget toys, and I just got to pick it up now, it's the Thorburn A5 with the double row IKBS. And this isn't offered, you got to order it special, otherwise you'll just get a single row IKBS. But oh my gosh, that action is so smooth, and it's just the right size to play with. And I really like the yellow color, it makes me happy that I custom ordered. And the other favorite flipper toy of mine is the Burger EXK. If you just want to sit at your desk and flip something, that's a great knife to do. Well, hey, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. And I want to hear in the comments section, what are your favorite knives to carry? And do you have any knives that you like so much that you're hesitant to carry? And help me with my dilemma on that. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next House of Wisdom knife video.